once again to those that attended yesterday, and welcome for the first time for those that are attending just today. It was a bright session yesterday, and then we always at One in Action Initiative we take pride in offering people that attend our sessions the opportunity to learn new things because we also learn ourselves, and we're so happy and proud that that repeated itself yesterday. Dr. Maureen and Dr. Lukman shared a lot of deep insights, opportunities, and also approaches to food safety on the continent of Africa. And the highlight for majority of the people yesterday was a three-legged stool approach, which we are going to be sharing more details about that via email to all the participants, whether you attend for just a day or a second half, or you attended the 2 days. So for the first part, we had a very brilliant session on youth involvement in food safety education in Africa, the current status quo, what it looks like now, and the way forward. And there was particular attention on informal markets because on the continent, majority of food production itself and food distribution happens in the informal markets. The formal markets are not really robust enough to serve majority of the people, and the nature of the market systems in most parts of Africa is not currently able to accommodate a formal market for food, whether meat or crop food. And Dr. Maureen also encouraged us to actually focus our education activities and also some other kind of initiatives as youth on that particular segment of the food system. We are no longer in the era of food chain or food value chain. We are now in the era of food system. So she encouraged us to actually focus our attention on that component of the food system. Then we had the icebreaker session that some of us have seen earlier that I shared. Very nice. A lot of people got to share what their One Health plate, basically. The last thing they had and the One Health implication of what they have on their table. I give example of chicken and antibiotic use in poultry farms, which is a risk to myself having the chicken. And we had examples of milk, examples of beans and the use of pesticides and so on in beans that could actually be toxic to myself taking the beans eventually. So, which was a very interesting icebreaker. Well, of course, I think we also should get credit for always setting up unique icebreakers in our sessions. Yeah, so then it was followed by a breakout session in which participants got to discuss about the implications for antimicrobial resistance on food safety and how it can be controlled, and also GMOs, genetically mutated organisms, and food security on the continent, and lastly, alternatives to feed for livestock and how that can be harnessed. And lastly, we had Dr. Lukman give us deep insight into the factors that are responsible for increase in poultry, the prices of poultry feed in the country, and the implication it has on the production and the price of chicken and eggs in the market. And what he also highlighted solutions or alternatives, which largely depends on the governmental regulation of a certain aspect of the production for farmers to have a cushion effect to the cost they bear on poultry feed so that they can actually reduce the price of this feed. And well, the two conversations did not end there, of course, because these are very, very deep and broad topics and with multiple aspects that need to be continuously not just talked about but acted upon, starting from the education component and to advocacy. And we all, as youths, we all found the things that we can actually do to support this initiative and to improve food security on the continent yesterday. So that said, we will now proceed to today's business, and we will start with a keynote speech from Dr. Noel Lee Miranda. I'm very sure majority of you know him from LinkedIn. He has been a very strong voice when it comes to the green approach to One Health. And then today you have the opportunity to hear directly from him about how youth can be involved in food safety education in Africa, and the things we are currently doing and the things we can do to make it better. Right, then who is Dr. Noel? He is a regional consultant in global health security and One Health, bringing over 4 decades, 40 years. I am far from 40. So sorry, your experience is older than myself. Anyways, so bringing over 4 decades of experience in pioneering disease prevention and control efforts, he has played instrumental roles in combating rabies, Ebola, resting, and avian influenza, and he has also held key technical and advisory positions at WHO, ASEAN, FAO, and various government agencies. I want to be like you, sir. He has led major initiatives in pandemic preparedness and response, zoonotic disease prevention, surveillance and control, and health security systems, planning both in Philippines and across the Asian region. His work has been central in shaping multi-sectoral strategies for pandemic risk management under the One Health approach, and he currently serves as a senior advisor on the One Health and Global Health Security to the Asian UK Health Security Partnership Program. He is also a senior research and innovation fellow at Ateneo School of Medicine and Public Health, Center for Research and Innovation. Now, he is original. Okay, right. Okay, I think I've narrated this. So, by that, I will welcome Dr. Noel, and I will stop sharing so he can share his screen and share with us what he has for us today. You can take over, sir.
Okay, let me turn on my. Hello.
Hello,
I hope you.
sir.
I hope you can see me because I cannot see anyone else.
Oh, yeah,
I,
yeah, we
I
can see you, no problem. We will turn
is
on the camera later on. We are using
is
the. Okay, go ahead.
no, because I'm only seeing my screen. So can you see the whole screen? Can you see the whole
Uh,
screen?
yes, but it's not yet in slideshow.
Okay, is that okay? That one. That should be
Yeah,
okay,
it's
right? Okay, sorry.
yes, it's perfect now.
All right. First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much. Thank you very much. For inviting me. Dr. Dauda, thank you for, I mean, I've been in touch for several months since this particular presentation. I'm happy to be part of any One Health initiative. And in fact, I'm very surprised that, you have a very wonderful focus on food security or well, food safety in the context of food security. So let me begin my presentation. Thank you for the introduction. I'd like to just, say that it is important for us to understand that food safety is not only technical. Obviously, in this presentation, I will not go so much into the statistics and different causes and drivers of food safety. Rather, I would focus on the strategies and kind of solutions, and especially in the context of what the youth can do to support education on food safety in Africa. Now, so it is of course a youth issue. Food safety is a youth issue, a livelihood issue, especially concerning the young people, young individuals, and a One Health issue. So those are really the issues that I'd like to discuss. And now the real question is not involvement, but are youth equipped and empowered and recognized as part of the solution? Are you recognized as part of the solution? I think I'm talking to a number of youth in this particular meeting, and so I hope I will be able to touch your or inspire you um, and touch your curiosity. So this talk explores food safety education as a pathway to health, dignity, and sustainable livelihoods. So, what do we mean by food safety? So, of course, the Codex tells us that food should not cause harm when prepared or eaten as intended. And of course, from the One Health lens, we'd like to see food safety, going. beyond the kitchen, for example, and inspections. We want to see One Health as a system, not, of course, not only for food safety, but also for a number of reasons, including climate change, beyond zoonosis, of course, beyond AMR, even including non-communicable diseases. And I hope I can touch on that later. But then, food safety also operates across farm to fork continuum. And it is shaped by human health, animal health, environmental health conditions. So that's why we're talking about One Health. It is definitely linked to AMR, climate change, wash, water, and sanitation and hygiene, biodiversity loss, and inequity or inequality, inequity. So when food safety fails, it is usually a system failure, not an individual failure. Okay, it is usually a system failure. So why why is this important in Africa? So Africa has the highest per capita burden. I think this has been presented and you've discussed this of foodborne illness globally. This is not due to lack of care. It actually reflects the context of constraint. Informal markets, limited water access, fragile systems. Of course, foodborne diseases is an issue. Strains in health systems. It undermines nutrition, it weakens food security. And if we look at the cholera outbreaks that you're experiencing, it shows the convergence of unsafe food, unsafe water, conflict in some areas, and displacement. So what are actually the structural drivers of food safety risk? And I think we can, look at food safety risks really are structural and, of course, not so much behavioral, right? I mean, I would say definitely there's the interplay between structural and behavioral drivers of food safety risk. But let's look at the structural. So the key drivers would be informal food markets, inadequate wash, rapid urbanization, and dietary change, climate shocks, floods, heat, drought. We also experienced that in the Philippines, conflict and poverty, and education. Alone, of course, cannot solve these, but education that ignores these realities will fail. So the topic today is really about, informing you how we can play a role in food safety education. So I think education here is really the core in terms of making sure that we have interventions that would actually work because, generally people are educated. So what is already working? I think this is an important question. Um, Community food hygiene programs are improving households and vendor practices. Of course, the training for butchers, fish sellers, and street food vendors, youth volunteers and peer educators have been active in communities. School feeding and local procurement engaging young farmers are, pretty much in place. And the core lesson that we can pick up is really youth engagement actually works when it is practical, it is local, and livelihood linked. So let's now go into, discussing where are the gaps. I think food safety education, have certain gaps that we'd like to discuss in this presentation. We have the systems gaps. We can see that there's several fragmented elements across agriculture, health, trade, and environment. Um, And these fragmentation really is something that we need to address. As I said, these are structural in many ways. So food safety is not embedded across schools. And in the tech vocational education and training, um, universities may need to drive more subjects towards food safety. There's weak water sanitation and hygiene program or systems in place. Inspection is weak, and laboratory capacities can also be weak in some circumstances. So, and then let's try to examine, for example, the youth perspective, gaps in relation to the youth. So I think we would agree that many youth or young people in food value chains lack formal training. There's also, you know, young women who actually face added barriers like land, finance, training, their access to land, finance, access to training, and do they have a voice? Or do they have equal voices in terms of food safety? Uh, for example, the youth can be underrepresented in governance and professional networks. And I think there's also the general understanding that youth innovation and evidence generation is undervalued. And later, when I present to you the strategies, I think these are really, the reason why I'm presenting to you the gaps is because we would like to also discuss the strategies during this presentation. So now let's look at the gaps in relation to One Health, climate, and AMR. So these are important dimensions that we need to pay attention to, particularly nowadays when we are very keen in putting climate change in our agenda, and trying to relate. And this is one of the things that I'm very passionate about, is trying to relate One Health um, and make One Health, or argue that One Health is actually the delivery system for planetary health. This is a very strong advocacy on my end, that I do believe that One Health should not be seen as a framework. It should be seen as a delivery system that actually works at downstream. And I think One Health can also work upstream, which I will also present if I have time. So actually, there are few programs that are linked, that links actually, there are few programs that link food safety to One Health and climate risks. Okay, and climate is already shaping foodborne hazards. We can see that, flooding, heat stress or heat related hazards. Youth are also rarely engaged in surveillance and early warning. And also, there's, I think, opportunity in infusing prevention within the major agenda. I think prevention is really something that I discuss about, the importance of One Health in terms of primary prevention versus secondary prevention. So there's really space there, or opportunity there, to make One Health work across the entire continuum upstream to downstream challenges. So where can prevention happen, actually? Okay, where should prevention actually happen? So prevention does not start in hospitals, right? We know that. So it actually starts upstream. When we talk about upstream, it needs to happen where you have high-risk human-animal environment interfaces. Okay, that's the reason why we're doing One Health. because One Health is focused on interfaces. That can be the market, that can be the jungle, that can be, the interface or the nexus of land and sea or land and water. So it happens across communities and LGUs, farms, markets, and slaughterhouses, water, waste, transport systems, um, ports and borders, and foods safety education, of course, we feel must reflect this real operating space. Okay. So food safety education must look at these interfaces, high risk interfaces that's actually that are actually driving food safety hazards. So now let's go to strategies. Let's go to strategies. I have, I think, 6 strategies here that I'd like to discuss. One is the strategy on integrating, food safety into the education system. So to integrate food safety in education, I obviously we need to embed food safety early, okay? Primary and secondary education, for example. We need to strengthen university and One Health training, strengthen university education, and of course, One Health training, whether that's in the context of university-based learning, and use experiential learning. For example, working in gardens and canteens and, within the interfaces that I mentioned. We can use such examples or simulation, for example, of such settings and interfaces. Now let's go to strategy 2. This is really to equip the youth in agri-food value chain. So equipping the youth in these value chains or understanding these value chains. So to train young farmers, for example, young processors or vendors, to be more aware of what's going on in the value chain and how the value chain is actually associated with a number of risk elements in terms of food safety. So integrating as well food safety into agripreneurship programs, and meaning, when you're thinking of certain entrepreneurships, business development, I think we also have to think about food safety as an important component of business. Also, make safety economically rewarding. I think this is important. Safety must be an incentive, right? Because it rewards you economically. Okay. For example, traceability of ingredients, and also reduced loss so that you also have reduced food waste in general. Now let's go to the third strategy, which is on digital tools and innovation. Okay. The use of social media, and innovating with social media. So, for example, micro courses can be introduced, right? Micro courses, social media, uh, many pathways towards social media, chatbots, SMS, of course, simple SMS, texting, our stakeholders. Boot camps can build skills, very specific skills that we need for the youth to actually develop, can be done through boot camps. And of course, we have hackathons, a lot of hackathons, different ways of using this to generate solutions or innovations. And the youth can organize a number of these hackathons so that they can, kind of innovate together, brainstorm together, and be able to come up with a number of good solutions to the problems that we face. And The fourth strategy is on youth co-producers, youth as co-producers uh, of evidence. And and I think here we would like to deal with, risk mapping, understanding how that is done, citizen science, meaning involving communities to actually do science together with university researchers to actually teach the citizens how science works in terms of food safety, or when looking into food safety strategies and developing solutions. Also surveillance support, and then linking the youth to laboratories and formal systems is also an important strategy, and strengthening early warning and trust. Um, I think and youth-led research is important. I think this is very important for me to stress in this presentation. Youth-led research, and I do look forward to the youth being involved in research. As a student, as a young student, even when you go to high school as well as university, I think you can still be considered as youth, right? I mean, what is the age group of youth when we talk about their involvement in One Health
Yeah,
or food
it's
safety?
um it's a little bit dicey, but between 18 to 35 is the wide bracket. But the
Yeah,
upper limit of 35, they are trying to bring it down to 30. But for now, the standard is 18 to 35.
yeah, right. So it's really, I don't belong there anymore, but it's really a wide margin of age groups, right? Or generations. So there's really opportunity, a lot of opportunity to get young people, maybe to use another way of referring to the youth. You see, young professionals even to be able to advance certain strategies. So the next strategy is really on governance and policy and financing. And here, the youth representation in food safety and One Health platforms is something I believe is a gap. You know, what is the role of the youth or young professionals, young individuals, both school, those in school age, still in college, university, what's their role in terms of and their voices, how much are they being represented in food safety and One Health platforms? So dedicated funding for youth-led initiatives is important. Engagement must be institutionalized and not just symbolic. Okay, it's not just, for example, this presentation. The youth engagement must be institutionalized. This is I'm a very strong advocate of institutionalization, especially when we say institutionalized operation, right? We talk about operationalization, but it's also important to have that formally embedded within institutions or systems. So it's a formal system in place. So we need formality. We need formal engagement of the youth, not just symbolic, not just, talking about the youth, role of the youth in lectures like this. So I think those are really the strategies. And now I'd like to go towards the bigger picture here. I'd like to talk about the international health regulation, because when you look at the international health regulation, obviously food safety is there, right? So you can see it in this slide. Food safety uh, is a single component, one of the components of the IHR core capacities. Okay, one of the capacities or one of the core capacities that we need to develop in terms of capacity building. And we'd like to see countries to achieve high scores. And I think the involvement of the youth will enable or contribute to the increasing capacities, overall capacity to food safety. Now, you can see in this diagram that One Health is actually a little bit outside. It belongs to IHR. I mean, it doesn't belong to IHR. It's part of IHR. It's how we build capacities with One Health as a strong component of HR core capacity. But One Health, when we talk about upstream drivers of hazards of causes of certain impacts or outcomes that are undesirable, diseases, whether those are diseases or events like flooding, climate change, climate related events. One Health, as I said, plays an important role. And in my next slide, actually, I'd like to actually highlight that. And again, here, the One Health Joint Plan of Action includes, again, an action track separately, an action track on strengthening the assessment, management, and communication of food safety risks. This is action track number 4 in the One Health Joint Plan of Action. Also, in the One Health Joint Plan of Action, it's also important to look at, of course, the different action tracks on zoonosis, on AMR, and also the action track on integrating the environment sector or environment into One Health. Okay, these are very important action tracks. When we're discussing One Health, we cannot not try to discuss these action tracks, because these are very important focus areas for capacity building. But okay, so let's just discuss a few core objectives of food safety in education, or food safety education. One is really food handling, right? Safe food handling, hygiene. I mentioned that, proper storage, to promote risk-aware behavior change. That's also important, and also consistent and development of personnel training, capacity-based education, ensure that frontline personnel are able to be advocates and good examples of personnel, young professionals who understand food safety very well. And of course, expanding the consumer awareness on label reading, food freshness, traceability, and contamination risks, and positioning the food safety, positioning food safety as an essential component of health security. So you can see that in my previous 2 slides. Secondly, food safety education is a system-wide approach. Okay, you need system-wide approaches for food safety education. Number one, integrating food safety into national and local public health education, providing structured training for LGUs, schools, healthcare facilities, and food establishments, utilizing traditional and digital risk communication and community engagement channels, the radio, SMS, alerts, community meetings, and social media, and strengthening One Health coordination, of course, as a system-wide approach, and embedding monitoring indicators for knowledge improvement, compliance, and behavior change at community, especially at community and institutional level. Here is a very important slide as well to show how upstream concerns or focus are actually interconnected with downstream focus. Upstream discusses primary prevention, of course, preparedness, and downstream is actually focused on preparedness and response. And we're kind of used to that, One Health is actually more easily understandable when we're talking about surveillance, when we're talking about laboratories, healthcare strengthening, when we're talking about managing outbreaks. uh, workforce development, RCCE, we tend to understand One Health more. But when we're talking about One Health as it is applied upstream, there's also surveillance there, but it's really event surveillance, more event surveillance, like, how do we apply surveillance to reporting of flooding or pollution, destruction of biodiversity, illegal mining, for example? Are we applying surveillance in reporting these human-driven or human activities that actually driving hazards downstream? Of course, the importance of assessing the impact of climate change and biodiversity loss and pollution upstream. And in this slide, this is something new. This is something that I developed, and it's showing, within the circles are actually what we call operational domains. Okay, you can see the title of this is Green One Health. Green One Health as the delivery system of planetary health. And I'm writing a paper that actually discusses why One Health is the delivery system. And why am I calling it green? Because obviously there are some differences in terms of scope, in terms of function, in terms of purpose, in terms of stakeholders that we'd like to, in terms of the way it is situated upstream. And there are a number of domains, as I said, operational domains, and health, infrastructure domain, production systems, environmental and biodiversity governance, and community knowledge and observation. And outside these circles, of course, in the center, you have upstream socio-ecological risk drivers and disruptions, both causes and effects. And outside the circles are actually what we call operational tools, the interventions, the way we do things, the procedures, the processes that we can deliver, that we can actually make One Health as the delivery system. So these are what we call operational tools, similar to the operational tools that we're using now. The multi-sectoral coordination mechanism operational tool, surveillance and information sharing, risk assessment, joint risk assessment, workforce development, governance, So these are the same. We have to develop operational tools upstream for upstream use, like joint integrative education and research, multi-sector governance, financing and accountability as operational tools, co-development and livelihood transitions, and socio-ecological risk assessment and modeling. I do really request you to support this. I'm trying to put science into this. I'm trying to put evidence, generate evidence, generate case studies that would actually establish evidence that we, such a system of One Health as the delivery system for planetary health is actually going to work or is actually working. So this is my last slide, and in as a way forward, One Health approach to youth and food safety is important, especially in the context of education. Now, youth are not, future resources, right? They are a present force in Africa's food systems. They're not the future resources. We need to see them as a strong force in Africa's food systems. So by bridging education, livelihoods, and governance, youth can lead safer, climate-resilient food chains. One Health makes visible the links between food, animals, ecosystems, and human well-being. From this dialogue, I'd like to see us co-designing a practical youth action agenda. Let's co-design from today. on food safety and food waste reduction. Um, with that, I end my presentation and thank you very much for listening. I hope I was able to impart knowledge, certain inspiration to the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, if you can use the reaction icon and emoji to appreciate Dr. Nell. Yeah, you've delivered a lot of knowledge, and then you've also inspired us to do more than we are currently doing. I was very happy when you were talking about hackathons and all of that. We actually organized one, and we are going to
Yeah.
announce the winners today.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they are getting a reward that is probably more than money, because we are going to link them up with one of our consultants on business incubation that will then advise them on how to proceed to take their um, innovations from the idea stage of that and convert it to a viable business. So we have done that like as one of the baby steps that we are currently taking. But then, of course, we are now inspired to do more and probably organize more hackathons. And I like the last call that you made, which is to design like a dossier or a document, position statement or
Yeah.
whatnot that will guide food safety education, especially in informal
Yeah.
markets. I would like to take that up with you, sir, and with
Yeah.
people that will want to participate in that
Hap-
that particular. Yeah,
Thank you
go
for
ahead,
liking
sir.
it. No, happy to support. Thank you for liking it. I think it's important. You know, as I make this presentation, I'm also discovering myself these opportunities, and I think we need to work together. I kind of feel young when I when I
Well,
join this this group.
when you are with us. All right.
Yeah,
So, are there questions? While you finished writing time, we still have 6 more minutes
yeah,
within
go
his
please.
time. So, is there any question? You can use the chat box, and the mic is all open. Feel free, just as we had it yesterday, if you would like to talk. While we think about our questions, I would like to recognize the presence of our advisors who have been helping us to run an action initiative. Dr. Shehu Shamsuddin is here, and then Dr. Sharifat is also here again today. So thank you very much. We appreciate. We know like you are busy people, and for taking time to come. Yes, we do appreciate that. So there's a hand up, Abdurrahman Hassan Ali. Please, you can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Okay, my name is Abdirahim Hassan Ali from Somalia, Canadian or veterinary medicine, and also I'm in the field. So just my main point is to appreciate our professor. So just I don't have words for appreciation. So yes, I'm appreciate as a heartful as a
Thank you
sharing
very,
as a valuable knowledge. Just we are feeling. So just we need more time
thank you very much.
to deeply understand the recorded lessons, and then we will share what we get from there. So
Thank you
absolutely,
very much.
I appreciate it as a heartily. Thank you, Prof.
Thank,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you.
Let's work together.
Yeah. Sure, Asan, thank you. Yes, the line is always open at 2HIA. There's so much we can do together. So, yeah, if we want to set something up, we can create the group and then we can start up the document. We can initiate the process to HIA and then bring everybody together. It's part of our core mandates, and we are doing quite a number of things in that direction at the moment. Thank you very much, Asan. And yeah, thank you for appreciating our speaker. So no question, which means everybody is properly inspired and motivated and moved to do stuff. And we would like to see initiatives coming up when it comes to educating people about, okay, Dr. Sharifat has a hand up.
Hello, good evening,
Good
good
evening,
afternoon.
ma'am.
Yes. So, a question that comes to my mind is, and first of all, I'd like to give good credit to our presenter. Thank you. This was indeed an enlightening presentation.
Thank you very much.
So, yeah, we have a lot of young people here, and each and every day I get to interface with young people who indeed wants to go into One Health, participate actively, and the rest. So, a question I'd like to know, I'd like to ask, which is for the benefit of the young people around us, particularly in this presentation, is what are the competencies that they need to have so that they can indeed be effective and participate efficiently when it comes to matters around One Health and food safety in Africa? Thank you.
Yeah, I think, well, for One Health competency, that's important. Of course, surveillance would always be number one, and but understanding risk communication is important. Um, as far as One Health is concerned, again, and risk assessment. So, but of course, there are also those soft skills, let's say, relationships, relational skills, relational competencies, building trust, and taking responsibility, the ethics of trust and response. So ethics of trust and responsibility, besides the technical. Now, in relation to education, putting that in the context of education, and we did present a number of these, is really even going as far as how to organize these dynamic sessions, or like management. The management skills really is important. We tend to not talk so much about management, but actually One Health is a management skill,
Approach.
competency. Yeah, it's like taking your master's in business administration, for example. There is a One Health administration component. um, community-based skills, organizing community actions, engaging communities, especially at grassroots, working with indigenous communities. These are very important skills. They can be both relational and technical. So I'll stop there. Of course, there are other important skill sets and competencies.
Thank you very much. Mar, does that answer the question?
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Dr. Noel.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, I mean, as we can all see, it's these things that are out of the classroom that are very important when it comes to the One Health approach.
Yeah.
We do have at One Interaction Initiative, we have these charts that we always present. We know, okay, there are people that are human medical scientists or human medical doctors and so on. There are veterinarians, there are social scientists, environmental scientists. But where we work is at the interface, at the engine of One Health, which consists of the 4 C's: collaboration, capacity building, coordination, and communication. So any skill, and this is just my contribution because I'm also a young person. So any skill or knowledge that you acquire that can answer to any of these 4 C's, again, communication, capacity building, collaboration, and coordination, I think they are essential to, promoting or supporting initiatives that will help move food safety forward on the continent. Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
No, I'm just going to add 2 more C's. I'm going to add 2 more C's, which is care.
Okay, care, yeah.
To care, and also 1 more C is co-benefits.
Yeah.
To have, for us to really also look at how One Health benefits everyone. How does it benefit everyone? The stakeholders, as well as, down, food security, health security. Besides that, how does it benefit the private sector? How does it benefit the community in terms of livelihood, in terms of reducing poverty, for example? Anyway, that's just 2 more C's.
Yeah, 2 more C's. Thank you very much. Well, we can always try to criticize like the current status quo, but yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah. So thank you. Like, we deeply appreciate it. And then we'll reach out to you when we are moving forward with putting up all of these like guidelines and documents that we want to
Yeah.
put together as an action to support food safety education
Thank you.
across the continent of Africa. Thank you. I know it's very late at your place, and then we are, we
Yeah,
really
but good.
appreciate.
I just want to say good luck to what you're doing. You're doing such a good job. Wonderful. Even if you don't invite me, I mean, I admire your initiative. So keep on doing it. Keep on working hard. Thank you very much. Thank you
Yeah,
very
thank
much
you,
to
sir.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
everyone.
much. Really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
So I'll leave
So,
now. I'll leave.
all right, no problem. I understand. It's very late in the Philippines. Thank you, sir. Okay, so yeah, that's I have a lot of notes that I've taken. There are things we'll come up with, and we're going to invite you all again. But then let's move forward for the sake of time. We have 10 minutes for this task. No, I know yesterday people were sharing emails, and I promised you we're going to have like a more engaging networking activity and entities. Now, this is what happens. This is how it's going to happen. There is a part one. We are going to use the chat box all through today. Now, there is part one where in the chat box, we all see the name on your profile. What you're going to do is you will type one thing that you can offer, because in the world today you can't just go about like I am this, I am that. Like, yeah, you have to be able, you have to have some value. If you're a veterinarian, for example, there are lots you can offer. If you're a doctor, if you're an environmental science. So mention one thing that you can offer, to anybody that wants to be in your network or so on. Then you mention one thing that you need. So here, please don't be shy. I'm sure, of course, we would think that the numbers are not very much, but who knows? The small numbers are where the magic happens. So don't be shy if it's one thing or whatever you need. So put what you, what you offer and what you need. Even if it's funding, don't worry. We know the funding landscape is very difficult these days. But then, if your need is bearable for some people, they might have other resources that will link you to. So please type. I shouldn't be displaying this second part, but then let's say I'm letting out the card out. I did this for time management. Okay, so what you offer, what you need. Okay, great. Dr. Sharifa is saying she offers mentor. Of course, I'm a beneficiary of that right from undergraduate days. So, okay, food safety training, you need collaborators and funding. Good. Okay, animal healthcare. Okay, extension service. Okay, so we have partnership for fund. Yeah, there's a lot of funding. Well, maybe we are not we don't have the big boys here to give a lot of the money, but I mean, maybe not today. We will not say never. So proposal development and my healthcare. All right. Okay. I'm watching the time closely so that we will start the next presentation right on time once it's 4:05. Okay, we still have a little bit of time. Okay, skill, you need advice, mentorship. All right, I already see a match for you, but then training the trainee, excellent. Yeah, research partnership is okay. All right, great. So, well, we need more because it's going to be like a whole house thing, and then everybody's going to appear based on that. Okay, research tricks, excellent. Yeah, training the trainees, nice one. Okay. Well, yeah, we have. Okay, great. I mean, I'm tempted to add mine, but then we are the organizers. We're setting you up. We should not really. Okay, someone needs capacity building. You should tell us what you offer as well. It's circular economy we're trying to build here. If you just take, you can depend on taking. If you give, it's better so that it's value for value. Okay, that's why it's a cycle, right? Research grants, is that your need or what you are offering? If you are offering a research grant, I'm telling you, we have a lot of people that will use that right now. Okay, mentorship, public and implementation, release AMR, wow, collaboration and funding are the needs. Excellent. Okay, great. I'm watching the time, don't worry. When the time is up for this, then we'll go to the part where we okay, well, yeah. You need mentorship. Okay. Well, we have the one at the implementation mentorship program. Dr. Zainab is a mentor. Maybe this is your lucky day for next cohort. I don't know. I will not say, but yes, we do have a platform to facilitate that in case you get lucky. Okay, great. So now, I mean, not everybody is responding, and that is okay, great. Okay, this is finalizing opportunity. Wow, that's amazing. All right, now part two, which is now the interesting part. Now we have all seen Dr. Zainab already picked someone that mentioned research trick. Of course, it's one of the one scenarios that we have in the pipeline. Yeah, so we can it's probably on your side alone. Is everybody hearing me clearly? Okay, here is what is happening. My hearing aid has some looping. Okay, great. So maybe it's your networks are, but then I think it's going to get better. Sometimes the network lag causes that. Okay, food safety awareness. Well, we need your service here. Okay, great. So part two. Now from the offers and the needs above, now you, everybody, like individually go through the charts, look at what somebody that is taking what you are offering or somebody that is offering what you need. In a better situation, maybe there's an absolute match that okay, you want to take what they are offering and they want to take. But if that is not happening, at least one of the two must happen. Do you take what they give, or do you need what they do you take what they give, or do you give what they take? Now look at the person and send them, you respond to their post with your email, LinkedIn, anything at all you feel like, WhatsApp number, whatnot, social media, and where you think they can reach you and you can reach them, and then do the exchange. So now you know when you're chatting someone, okay, I met you at the AYD 25, it will be okay, it's based on this particular point, and it will not be just for networking purpose, and you can develop something from there. So let's see that happening. And other people as well, please feel free to pick LinkedIn contacts and so on. Okay, I can see that. Matthew. Okay, well done. Okay. Well, so I think we are a little bit, I mean, we have quite a number of initiatives. So I will drop our own email so that anybody, if you need to link up with someone from this event, you lost their contact or whatnot, that is how you reach us. But we do have quite a number of social media handles, and I will share that later on. Okay, we have 2 more minutes for that task, so please share, 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 share. I mean, I'm seeing quite a number of things that are interesting, but nobody's responding. Well, like I said, funding might not be too available at the moment, but we, hold on. Can you all hear me clearly?
Loud and clear.
Sorry?
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. Thank you, man. Okay, all right. So I can see email exchanges going on. LinkedIn, I mean, yeah, it's a huge resource these days. So if you can share. All right. So I think we have completed a few cycles. Yeah. And then we hope that more and more cycles will be completed within when we are, presenting and so on and so forth. So please feel free, pick people's contact from here. And we disclaimer, we are not responsible for unless you involve us, like personal interactions, but professional interactions, yeah, you can make reference to us for that. So, right, great. Excellent. Meat inspection training. Okay, well, I will, yeah, we can have a session on that. So I will reply with our email. And then if you can reply with yours, we can talk. Okay, so we've completed one cycle. Yesterday it was one health plate, today one cycle, and then until next year, we'll not be having task again. But yeah, who knows? Maybe one of the one scenarios will come up with another one something, and we do that. All right. So thank you very much. That is not the end of that task. You can continue in the chat box while you continue with the program to save time. Right. So the next speaker is Dr. Zainab Dambazau. You probably all know her again. So she will be speaking about the link between food and neglected tropical diseases. Food hygiene services are currently, happening in like fancy restaurants, proper food hygiene, fancy restaurants, and probably when there are occasions with big people coming, and it is not something that everybody have access to, especially in the proper sense of it. Like partly is an education problem. People sometimes want to clean food, but they don't really know like what to do. And then sometimes, yeah, it's not that it's the resources are not there, and so on and so forth. So how do we now make food hygiene services something a common good for all, with all of the one net benefits we can get from there? So who is Dr. Zainab Dambazau? She's a public health leader, my leader to start with, them, everybody's leader. She's a field epidemiologist and infectious disease modeler with over 10 years of experience in outbreak response and one health initiatives. She holds a master's degree in public health and infectious diseases, and she's currently pursuing a PhD in epidemiology, focusing on malaria transmission dynamics. Now, she works with the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and she founded the One Health Empowerment Initiatives and the One Health Messenger, which are our personal platforms inspired by a passion for public health. Now, she's a council member at the Capital City University, Kano State, Nigeria, and a recipient of the One Health Champions Award in 2024, just last year. She brings extensive expertise in research, policy, and health system strengthening to our engagement. That is what she's bringing to us today. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Dr. Zainab Dambazau as she takes over from me to enlighten us on the link between food and neglected tropical disease and the approaches we can take to decentralize food hygiene services globally. Thank you, Mar. Okay, you can share from your end. I was thinking of sharing from here. We can only see we've not seen
Thank
the
you very
screen.
much, Dr.
Okay, yeah, we can see it now.
Can you?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So putting on my camera because the network, sometimes can be a bit unstable. I don't know who is the boss here, but I give it on to you. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming, and thank you so much, Dr. Noel, for actually setting the stage. It has made, or it's going to make my presentation flow easier. So today, let me start with something simple. Every day, across communities, food moves. It moves from the farms to the markets, from hands to baskets, from baskets to pots, Let's just keep on playing that scenario, and from pots to the plates. It feels normal, it feels safe, and it feels familiar with each one of us here. But disease moves the same way. So if contamination enters anywhere along that chain, it doesn't make noise. It doesn't warn us. It just follows the food. And once you start seeing food this way, not just as nutrition or something to give us satiety, but as a pathway of disease transmission, you can't unsee it. That's what I want us to sit with today and for the future. So in the next few minutes, I'll do 4 things. I'll talk about why food and neglected tropical diseases are deeply connected, especially in Africa. I'll talk about how food hygiene is usually managed and where that approach struggles. Then I'll talk about decentralization, what it actually means and why it matters. And finally, I'll talk about what this means for each one of us in the room today. Please confirm you can still hear me.
Yes, we can still hear you loud and clear.
Yes,
So when
ma'am.
we neglected tropical diseases, they don't just start in hospitals. They start in everyday places, our kitchens, the markets, water sources, food preparation spaces. Globally, over 1 billion people are affected with neglected tropical diseases. And Africa carries a large part of that burden. Not just because people don't care. Nobody wants to fall sick, but because prevention doesn't reach everyone in the same way. And a big part of neglected tropical disease transmission in Africa is linked to unsafe food, water, and sanitation. So food hygiene is actually one of the most powerful prevention tools that we have. If you remember Dr. Noel's presentation, he mentioned things about the IHR, food security. So ignoring food in neglected tropical disease control is just like fighting malaria without talking about mosquitoes. That can't happen. If it happens, then it's just like a dead on arrival. So how food fits into neglected tropical diseases? What are the interlinkages? If we follow the biology, it's quite straightforward. We talk about unwashed vegetables, for instance, carry salt-transmitted helminths. We talk about water used in food preparation, how it can transmit schistosomiasis. You talk about how it can transmit teniasis. These are diseases that can be transmitted to humans through unsafe food. Now, combine that with how people actually eat. Just be playing that scenario. So across Africa, most people rely on informal food systems. We have a lot of street vendors, those frying akara on the street, yam. We have open markets. We have roadside stalls. So these systems, they feed millions of people every day. That's how we get our food. You're just coming back from work, you stop by the roadside, you just buy some vegetables, and probably they're not being washed well. Probably they are, and probably anything can happen in between. But when hygiene is weak, they also become very efficient disease pathways. So food safety isn't a side issue that we should just keep aside. And when there is probably an outbreak in just a setting and we just keep it, oh, let's go treat it. It's a central issue and it affects each and every one of us. So this brings us to food hygiene systems. In many settings, food hygiene is managed in a centralized way. That means decisions are made at the center or at the higher level. Standards that we use are set at the center. Inspections are planned from the center. Even at the abattoir, we use inspection plans from the center. Resources are also controlled from the center. And centralization exists actually for good reasons, because it brings about consistency, it brings about oversight, it brings about standard practices. But here's the challenge. Food hygiene risk is not central. It's actually local. Most food is prepared, is sold, consumed far away from central offices. So we end up with systems designed for formal spaces. We trying to manage informal, everyday food environments. So this isn't about bad behavior. Unsafe food practices is not just about bad behavior. It's about system design. So when systems don't match reality, prevention leaks. So where does this gap show up? So what I did here was I categorized it into 4, into capacity, governance, coordination, and approach. So when we look closely, the gaps are predictable, but they aren't enough, because they aren't enough. If you look at capacity, trained people at local levels. Standards are enforced unevenly. What might work for Kanu might not work for Bayelsa. But we use and adapt the same standards. Sometimes we do not even try to standardize them within our own localities. Coordination as well across health, environment, and agriculture is weak. So you have issues around weak coordination. We are trying, but we haven't really gotten there. But we are really trying. That's why we are here today for this webinar. It's a One Health thing. We're just pushing as hard as we can. And most responses, if we move, happen after disease has already occurred. So we are being reactive. So that's like treating diarrhea outbreaks every year. Every single year we talk about cholera. But are we fixing unsafe water sources? The same village will keep on reporting cholera year after year. The same ward, the same community. So when prevention is distant, it fills the space with disease. But what can we do differently? What are the opportunities? Because I don't look at gaps as problems. When we look at gaps as opportunities, we will continue to build brick by brick. We can't do that in one day, but we will continue to build. So imagine food hygiene treated the way we treat immunization. We make it routine, we expect it, and we bring it close to communities. If we have mobile inspection teams that actually reach markets, we see them not on paper. Food safety education starting in schools, it's actually done, but are we monitoring it strategically? If we have digital tools, it doesn't have to be complicated tools that support reporting and monitoring. It could just be text 1 to 1002. And especially women vendors, they are the powerhouse. Young people are the powerhouse. I remember Dr. Noel mentioning about youth and fighting food safety. If we support them as hygiene champions, they'll be happy because of that sense of ownership. So when prevention lives where people live, it lasts. So, but why does decentralization matter? This is where decentralization comes in. You can't really manage a local market effectively from a distant capital. So if you have the Wano market and I want to manage it here, Zainab sitting down here, can I do it effectively if I do not have food soldiers on ground? So food hygiene to me is actually local. So prevention has to be local. What does decentralization actually mean? So decentralization does not mean, let me do that disclaimer, removing standards. Central standards are gold standards. But it means when you shift some part of authority, some parts of resources, some parts of decision making closer to where food is actually prepared and sold. It's not about losing control. Nobody is going to grab any control from anybody. It's about placing responsibility where the risk exists. So by the time decentralization aligns responsibility with proximity, it's a win-win for everyone. Why does this work? For instance, when food services are decentralized, a few things change. Communities that are actually missed, they get reached. Though there's equity, decisions happen faster, there's efficiency. Responsibilities become clearer, there's accountability. And something important happens. People look at it as someone else's prevention. They look at it as their own prevention. It's my own prevention. I should be the one to wash my hands. I should be the one to use a little bit of salt or Milton to wash my fruits. You look at it as your own, you own it. The community owns it. So in settings that are dominated by informal food systems, decentralization isn't just ideological, it is practical. When you practicalize it, you see results. So I went to search for a few case studies, and this isn't about going in deep into research. So if we look at across different African settings, the lesson is consistent. Where communities participate, prevention lasts longer. The Human Central Design, the HCD. So where local authorities engage vendors, hygiene improves because they don't even want to lose money. They want to keep on making money. But are we really talking to these people? Are we just sitting and speaking a lot of grammar? Have we really gone to the market? It can start with just one person. We educate one person on something and you build that person's awareness. That person will spread it across their community. So where sectors work together, disease control is more sustainable. People protect what they understand and what they have the power to influence. In Uganda, community hygiene teams reduced worm infestations by 40%. It's a study that I saw online as well. Local food safety programs improved vendor compliance in India. In Nigeria, we integrated hygiene checks into primary health care, which lowered the rate of schistosomiasis. So these are practical examples that have worked, but we can do better. Everyone in the community is a stakeholder. Policymakers, they create the enabling environment to sit and talk, to support policies and funding. When you turn to local governments, they actually turn policy into practice because they are the main drivers. You cannot do without them. And when we look at health and environmental professionals, we try to integrate food hygiene into our routine work. It's not just to go and check the price, announce it on radio. There are a lot of things that are deep-rooted for us to bring about change. Little practical things. It's not those big things, but very little practical things within our own communities. Even civil society, youth and communities can champion safe practices, but this only works when responsibility is shared and when people work together. So food hygiene isn't about rules, it's about protection. When services remain centralized, everyday risks stay invisible. When services move closer to communities, disease loses ground. So safe food isn't a privilege. It's a public health responsibility from policy to plate. Let's also remember, centralized food hygiene means everyday risk. Decentralized food hygiene reaches it. These are my references, and I always have a poem at the end, and this is the poem for today: Safe Food and Strong Communities. So in crowded markets across sub-Saharan Africa, food travels far without protection. Weak hygiene gives neglected tropical diseases room to spread. But when food hygiene moves closer to communities, the risk begins to fall. Decentralization turns everyday meals into a source of health and not harm. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much. That was brilliant. I mean,
Wonderful.
so the poem, can you please just take one step back so everybody can see the poem again? That is number one. Number two, I mean, this is brilliant. I think the narrative flew well, and now we even have like a simpler perspective into it, and then from the bottom up approach. Thank you very much. That's excellent. I mean, the hidden things. Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate. So, does anybody have any question? And we are still right on time. We have 20 more minutes. I have a massive announcement. It looks like the winners of our ideathon will be getting money. So, well, I until then we'll see how it goes. Yeah, any questions, please? Okay, I have developed interest to go and educate family and friends about. Excellent. Yeah, you see, we are moving. I mean, yeah, okay. We are wonderful presentation. Yes. So, yes, this is what we. Okay. Francois. Oh, I'll just say Faute. Please unmute yourself.
Yes,
Hope I
Francois.
didn't butcher the name.
Oh,
Yeah, please go
yeah.
ahead, man.
Okay. Thank you. This is a wonderful presentation. I think I've been following you online for some years now. We tried doing something sometime, it did not work out, but I think God's time is the best. I'm so blessed attending this session, and a very big kudos to Dr. Zainab, and I really want to implement her practice, her work in my community. So I would like to get in touch with her if she doesn't mind, so we can scale it better to adapt it to my community. That's the question I want to ask, because it's just picking a question from it is just almost every sentence that she made has a question to go with. And so I will not waste people's time, but I will just say, I want to implement this in my community. So I've been in One Health for quite some time now. I will plead with her so that I can contact her or you, so that we scale it according to our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent. That's amazing. Yeah, so most of our speakers really did justice to their topics. So yeah, of course we have questions, but I think we're more inspired than having questions, which saves us a lot of time. And yeah, we are happy and proud to say that we are known for bringing speakers like this always, right? So what we can offer, yeah, excellent. Thank you. Please connect with our speakers on LinkedIn, and yeah, definitely we will. Yeah, there is something good to come out of it. Thank you. So we will now move to the next part of this affair. But Dr. Zainab, thank you very much. That was like, yeah, also inspirational.
Thank you
I'm
very
tempted
much,
to I'm
Dr.
tempted to
Dauda,
set
for
up a
having me
task
here.
force.
I
Okay, go
really
ahead.
appreciate.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Oh, Isa Sunny has his hand up. I don't know what he wants to. Okay, whether he has a question. Please unmute yourself and proceed.
Okay, so good day, sir. Good day, everybody.
Well done.
So my contribution is not a question, so I ask you, if possible, please, I need these slides after finishing this program.
Yeah, so it's routine to HIA. You will get all the slides, the recordings, and you also get a summary and the
Yes, sir.
certificates for our program. So
Okay.
be rest assured you will receive all of that after the program.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you so much. Dr. Z, you were saying something, ma'am. Doc, you were saying something, ma'am. Oh, okay. Maybe network. All right. So, thank you very much once again. We really enjoyed that session. So we'll move to the next part, which is presentations from those that were in the breakout rooms yesterday. But before then, I would like to make one tiny announcement, especially for colleagues that are not in Nigeria. We partnered with an organization, the Community Health Bridge Initiative, to host an essay contest for antimicrobial resistance during the last World AMR Awareness Week. And submission is still on. Please, if you can put in your submission, there is cash prize for first, second, and third position winners, and we're still taking entry. So please check our page by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. We will try to post it again so that especially youth, you can participate and have the opportunity to get the prize. And like we said, I see a lot of people requesting for funding in the chat box during the networking session. You see, the way things are now, you have to be innovative. The funding doesn't have to come as okay, one big grant or this. It can come from prizes here and there, and you use it to advance in your career or to take care of commitments, or probably to also proceed or make progress with your initiatives. But for our Ideathon winners, I'm congratulating them in advance. So now we will start this session. Someone from room 1, the group that discussed about antimicrobial resistance, can you please step up and briefly tell us what you discussed? Group 1 members, Dr. Farhan, if you're here, I think you were there yesterday, or who was the note taker in group 1?
Hello.
All right. Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right. Yeah, good day, everyone.
Good day.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, my name is Farhan Akorede, and I'll be representing room 1, where we discuss the causes, effects, and sustainable solutions to AMR. Okay, thank you, Marilyn, for presenting. Yeah, so we discussed at length, even though the time was super short and not each and every one of us could contribute to the extent at which we would have loved to. Yeah, so yes, so we discussed the causes of AMR, which we in all of us opinions, we believe it cuts across everyone. Like, everyone is a stakeholder when it comes to AMR, whether you're in food system or not, whether you're a vet or not, whether you're an health practitioner or not, you are one way or the other involved in the AMR, and the level of the involvement is just different. So we mentioned, as you can see on the screen, few of the possible causes. There are definitely more than this, but these are the ones we were able to mention, due to time. Inappropriate use of antibiotics at farm level, yes. We have issues of farmers who are the primary stakeholders of, farm animal product, with the case of, overuse, underuse of antibiotics and misuse of antibiotics. So this subsequently has a long chain of actions whereby it sometimes leads to mistrust of veterinarians. It's it leads to superbugs, bacteria, and subsequently leading to AMR. So poor veterinary services was also mentioned, whereby there are inadequate veterinary services or access to veterinary services in some areas, which is a core factor in the causes of AMR. Circulation of substandard and counterfeit antibiotics. This is also one of the core factors of AMR. Improper disposal of antibiotics and even vaccines. Yes, improper disposal of antibiotics or vaccines, whereby farmers or people that use antibiotics, they dispose it anyhow. Each of these drugs often have how to properly dispose them, but with the weak regulations and all we have around, people do not follow this. And lastly, weak regulatory and policy enforcement. If there are good enforcement and good regulations that bind the use of antibiotics and vaccines or drugs in general, the causes of AMR will have reduced to a minimum. And as you can see, we kind of were able to touch almost all stakeholders involved in the causes of AMR. Moving on to the effects of AMR. Yes, it's increased public health risk. Food safety issues directly impact consumer health. It impacts everybody, even animals' health, the environment, and everyone. Reduce productivity and food insecurity. Like we must have experienced, or we must have had, or we must have read that many cases whereby people or animals who did not, who did not take antibiotics are being affected from AMR, getting to the hospital and not being able to treat whatever infections or ailment they have because of being predisposed indirectly to a level of antibiotics that cannot, you cannot even imagine. You find an animal being resistant to having an ailment that is resistant to like 15 antibiotics. You understand? So we have economic losses. Of course, this is to affect the environment, to affect the animals on the farms, environmental and ecosystem impacts, environmental contamination with sick or dead animals. Yes, we have cases of emerging or re-emerging of zoonotic diseases. These are effects of AMR in food production in LMICs, and they keep coming and they keep piling. Yeah, so moving on to the solutions. Yes, I'm trying to cut it short because of time. So sustainable solutions to AMR in food production in LMICs, there are a lot. I mean, there are a lot of solutions. There have been a lot of solutions, and there are currently solutions being designed to tackle AMR. Just that I hope that the ones that can tackle the key points, the core of AMR are being addressed. However, in our room yesterday, we were able to talk about farmer education and awareness, which is very key, because without proper education, without every stakeholder that is involved, everyone that is involved, which is practically everyone in the world, being properly educated on what AMR is, the danger of AMR, the causes of AMR, the effects of AMR, we are practically not going to achieve a sustainable solution. But when we have each stakeholder well educated when it comes to AMR, that is, like the first move, the key move in, getting a sustainable solution to AMR. When we have every stakeholder, especially the primary stakeholders, many farmers do not even know what AMR is. They don't know how important it is to tackle AMR, to use antibiotics properly. And they are not the only one concerned. Market people, everybody. So we need to educate farmers about antibiotic use. Educate you yourself, educate your family. Ask yourself right now, if you go home and you gather your family members and you ask them what AMR is, what response are you going to get? So that means that you are informed, you're not informing the people around you. And like we always say, the maxim goes, change starts from you. So it starts from you. The battle to combat AMR starts from you and your family. So it starts with educating your family. And when you educate your family will educate someone else too. Your family is the smallest unit of the society, so you can start from there. Enhance legislation and enforcement. This is very, very good because when we have proper regulations and enforcement, AMR, whatever solution or intervention we do at basis level would get reinforced at the regulatory level. So improve veterinary services. Yes, this is also key because people often engage in self-medication when it comes to animal and they do not care. And this is like very, very bad. This takes like a larger percentage of the causes and effects of AMR. So if we're able to tackle these three key points, I feel every other solution surrounds these three we were able to mention in our room yesterday. Thank you very much. I
Thank
hope I
you
have
so
represented my
much.
room very well.
Yes, that was comprehensive. I mean, I appreciate the end-to-end approach to it, which is like what people do at the farm level, whether the crop production or livestock production, and how it has effect on everybody, which is like the people that we eat the food. So actors in the food system and then everybody else out there. So I appreciate that end-to-end approach. It shows like AMR is not something that has to do just with the farmers or just people giving like animals the wrong antibiotics or too much of antibiotics or for the wrong purpose, or about people self-medicating. It's about everybody because in the end we all get affected. So that is the biggest part of your presentation. I appreciate, and I think it shows that if AMR is in this way, and then we are talking about food system which affects everything also, definitely. Yeah, I understand your interest. Thank you very much. I mean, despite that you really presented, it's I mean the sacrifices is what matters. Thank you. What matters. What matters. Sorry. So thank you so much. So can we have someone from group 2 before we go to the big announcement? Okay, Nonso, please go ahead. Chukwu Nonso, please, you can unmute yourself and speak, sir. Or yeah, I don't know if it's okay, you would like to present? I mean, if you have slides you would like to present, yes, I can stop mine. Excellent. Okay, great. We had this a lot last year, and I'm happy it's coming up again. So please go ahead. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I shared with you in your mail. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can see your screen. Go ahead.
Then you have to stop sharing that.
Yeah, it's not yet in slide mode, but you can share it with us after and we'll put it as part of the files that we share with the participants. But yes, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay, it's in your mail actually. Sorry. In your mail.
Oh, in my mail? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Oh, okay, great. So do you want me to share or it's okay for you to share?
Please share, please share.
Excellent. So you can stop sharing and then I will oh wow. Some funny stuff going on here. Okay. All right, we are up now. Can you all see my screen? Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So this is the presentation from group 3. And so can you please
Okay. Quickly, thank you for the opportunity and for this. A quick one. Our topic is barriers. Our topic is barriers to exploring sustainable livestock feed alternatives. So we started by looking at what are the possible alternatives. So we looked at the natural alternatives, then commercial alternatives. Natural alternatives, that's plants and other forages that can be used, garbage from the waste, the food pills and the likes. Then the commercial alternative look at most especially the feed materials, then the raw materials for producing the feed. So next slide. So so we identified our barriers, and it's important to state that the barriers cut across both the individual, government level, community level, but we just endeavored to put them into ecological, biological, economic, physical barriers, social barriers, and other types of barriers. So for ecological barriers, it was a main point of discussion for all of us, where we agreed on the impact of climate change and natural disasters. So we looked at the way where you see climate change affecting crop production affecting the food availability both for animals, and food availability in animals now affecting availability of animal protein for humans. And so it was one aspect we looked at. Then biological barrier, we talked about plant diseases, and one example we talked about was there's this larval stage of one of the insects that affects corn, most especially towards the harvesting stage. Understand? So once it affects that, then you see a case of lack of ability of maize for production of feed. Understand? Then we talked about the increasing population of human population and demand for feed materials. Now, like most of the presentation between yesterday and today, I think alluded to this barrier. And you saw a case of like, now we have increasing population, the same maize, the same cassava we use for feed production is also consumed by humans. So there is this demand to meet human needs and also meet the needs for animals. And I definitely think we'll prioritize that of humans compared to animals. So it's also a barrier towards a sustainable livestock feed alternative. Economic barriers, this cuts to the individual farmer. You have a limited financial capacity of most farmers to be able to buy feed. Across various countries, we agree that the cost of livestock feed is on the increase. Understand? So a lot of farmers are unable to afford or access these feed and alternatives for their animals. Then fiscal barriers, talk about the power supply, feed processing machines, the roads to access harvest feed materials, process them, and the likes. We also added research capabilities. There's still a bit of limited research for us to solve that problem and move towards sustainable livestock feed abilities. Then the social barriers. For this aspect, we talked about cultural acceptance of alternative materials. An example could be blood meal. That is not prepared properly. It cuts across, the acceptability cuts across different cultures. Then you talk about the farmers' herders clashes. That in this case, we're looking at the interpersonal relationship between the farmer, the livestock farmer, and the crop farmer, which can also lead to shortage in the feed alternatives for the animals, political instability, security, and the likes. Then other barriers we talk about now cuts across to like government policies, just like availability of subsidies for farmers, cooperative union, empowering cooperatives and rural communities. Then we also talk about knowledge deficiency of the farmers. Then we also talk about nutritional value of these alternatives. How good are they for the purpose we want to use them for? Thank you. This is where we stopped for our discussion.
Thank you. Okay, can you hear me? Oh, thank you so much.
Yep.
Excellent. I mean, I love this slide, and I'm even going to take a screenshot. And I mean, this is the power of community. Look at for something like this to come out of a breakout session that didn't last for more than 30 minutes shows the power of youth and what a community can actually do. So thank you very much. That is so much appreciated. I like the effort that went into putting up a slide. And yeah, we really appreciate that. So I'm getting an inspiration before we, of course, Dr. Noel, Dr. Zainab, they've pushed us and think we have to do something. We will, in the email you will receive from us, please look out for a paragraph that will invite you to join us, to join the task force that will develop a like a guideline for food safety education in informal markets for youth. We are still thinking about the name and we can come about together, but we would like to set up a set of guidelines, informally decentralized, that youth organizations and individual youths can actually use to reach out to informal markets and try to educate them on food hygiene and some other critical components of food system. Um, so yeah, another opportunity for you to participate in something meaningful. We are going to release a document and then make it publicly available, and we will try to do translation to other languages that are widely spoken in Africa. So thank you so much. I mean, if we can have things like this, then we can obviously have something like that at the end of the day. So thank you. That's really appreciated. And also, and for group 3, I think I'm just going to present for them the participants in 3 and currently not able to speak. Okay, well, it's a little bit okay. Yeah, it's a Word document. So, well, I can still share, but I will summarize because we still have the interesting part, which is announcement of winners and their prize. Yeah. So, yeah, GMOs, basically they're organisms that are modified, plants, animals, and microbes. And well, the modification in GMOs, like this is a widely acceptable definition, does not occur naturally. So whatever modification is done to the organisms in this question, they are not a natural modification. So that is GMO. So and the process of modification is done through biotechnology, gene editing, CRISPR, and all of this kind of technology. So certain genes were removed, certain genes were amplified, and so on and so forth to make the organism either bigger, sweeter, or to have to amplify certain desirable attributes in that particular organism. Right now, there is a simple definition. Organisms whose DNA has been intentionally changed with a scientific technique to actually pronounce certain wanted or desired characteristics. Now, examples are GMO crops, maize. I gave this example yesterday. As well. Herbicide tolerant soybeans, golden rice, drought tolerant maize, and so on and so forth. And animals, we have aqua advantage salmon, which grows faster than normal salmon. Of course, in I think the Nordic region, they do this a lot in Europe, just because the demand for salmon is global, and they want faster production. Research animals. Now, genetically modified microorganisms like bacteria or like somatic cells of other animals like pigs, engineered to produce insulin or certain enzymes that are using biologicals. And why are GMOs created? But to achieve, improved food security, higher crop yield, resistance to disease, drought, and so on and so forth. Then to improve nutritional quality. Well, I won't go through this because these are not really so how it relates to one, and this is exactly what we want to discuss. Like food, it affects food safety positively in the sense that, of course, there is increased food production and certain attributes that will, discourage or that will reduce food production. We actually be eliminated using the biotechnology in question. Animal health, to improve feed efficiency and quality and so on and so forth. Then environmental health, fewer pesticides. Of course, when you genetically modify certain let's say insects, for example mosquito, and then they can't reproduce anymore, you get to reduce the number, hence you are controlling the disease that they can transmit. So GMOs need to be responsibly used, but then basically the group did not really mention, their verdict. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? So I will still leave that as an open question because it's a global debate. In my opinion, the modifications, I mean, they're going too far, in my personal opinion, and I think it needs to be regulated. That will be my response. But then we'll now go to the last part of this year's African Youth Dialogue on One Health and Sustainable Livelihood, which is announcing the winners of the Food Waste Reduction Ideathon. So if you have a bell, you can ring it. I hope the participants are here. If they are not, to reach out to them by email, and then still pretty much at this stage where, what is the time? We still, okay, yeah, we took some minutes yesterday and we're going to pay it back today. So the winner is, should I announce the winners first or announce the prize first? Let me announce the winners first. Okay, great. No winners yet, so I will use the opportunity to announce the prize first. All right, so I hope we have a prize that is going to bear our advisor's name. Okay, yeah, he's no longer on the call, probably got busy. Okay, so through One Health Enterprise Lab, which is an upcoming consortium for One Health implementation using entrepreneurship, we received Sheu Shamsuddin Award of $100 for the winner. So please use emoji and everything to appreciate him. And then now we will announce the winner. So Agro Waste to Value Up, Amisu Ishaku, congratulations. You have won this year's Food Waste Reduction Ideathon. And like you have seen in the previous slides, we received tremendously impressive applications. It was difficult to select one particular winner, but we had to. But Amisu, congratulations. You have won not just the promised session with a business development specialist, you've also won yourself a cash prize of $100. And we will communicate after this session as to how you will receive the award. So congratulations. I mean, I don't think he's here with us. I wish he was here to actually give a brief on his idea and how it's going to change things. However, we will make more announcements about these and other initiatives that we're thinking of bringing up on our LinkedIn page or on all our social media pages. So please stay tuned and follow up with us through those avenues. And you can always send us an email. We are always available and ready to assist and support. So I'm clapping for you. We the cash prize was a last minute thing, but yes, you are getting more than what we actually intended to give you, which is a good thing. So big congrats to you, and we look forward to participation from everybody from other initiatives that we are setting up. Like I said, there is an essay contest currently going on. $200 for first prize winner, $150 for second, and $100 for the third prize winner. And then, yeah, this is someone who just won $100. We are trying to create a platform where, of course, as little or as much as we can, we share resources and we help people achieve their aims on implementing the One Health approach on the African continent. Right. So before we now go and then say goodbye to next year, I want to say massive thank you to everybody who took time to actually attend. We recognize and appreciate the data that you use. We recognize and appreciate the time you took out to attend. We recognize and appreciate the attention you paid, your participation and everything. It means a lot, and it will enrich the report we are going to generate for this particular event. And I keep saying it, we currently have a social media outreach capacity of 11,000, and that is OHIA. That is what it's an action initiative. It's not us, it's not me that you always see on all the events, and it's none of the volunteers that are here. It's actually you, our participants, because if we set up an event or set up anything and you don't attend, of course, it's all for nothing. So, and your participation is actually the basis for what we do. We had the first African Youth Dialogue on One and Sustainable Livelihood in 2023, and if we didn't get the push and the participation from you, we wouldn't continue until 2025. And so we deeply appreciate your continuous support, participation, appreciation, and we wish to really, really, really do more to help youth and to support youth on their endeavors to have better Africa where there's food safety and antimicrobial resistance. It's no longer a problem, and we live in solid health equity between humans, animals, and the environment. Right. So these are our social media handles. Of course, please feel free to reach out anytime. We try to be as much as possible responsive and fast. And we have lots of opportunities coming up. We currently have One Earth Implementation Mentorship going on, and we are setting up One Earth Implementation Academy. And then we will always look forward to having you participate because it's all about you. So thank you. This is the end of the 2025 African Youth Dialogue on One Earth and Sustainable Livelihood. And for subsequent one, I can promise you categorically, we have been saying this, but next year is going to come to life. The next edition is going to be hybrid. So we look forward to seeing some of you physically. Thank you very much. And then you can turn on your camera if you're in a place to do so. So we take our final screenshot and then we can call it a day. Thank you. We really, really appreciate your presence. Zinabu, thank you. And then, yeah. Umar Adamu, thank you so much. Marilyn, thank you for staying it through. She's the chief of organizing committee for this year's. You might want to say hello to end the call, and then Dr. Shield, if you're, let me check, is it back with us? He's the sponsor of the One Health Enterprise Lab Award. A prize. Oh, okay. What is... All right, Dr. Sharifa, thank you for being there always. We will soon announce our board of advisors, and she's number one. Marilyn, go ahead.
Okay, hi everyone. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold, but it was a really good event. We've had Dauda and I have really been struggling to make it successful, although he's been taking of the burden, if I can put it like that. Thank you so much to our speakers, and see you next year, early next year, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you again next year. So bye-bye, everyone. Thank you to those that turn on their cameras. This will be all of it for this year. Thank you. Bye-bye. You can unmute yourself and say bye-bye now, and then just say something.
Hi, bye-bye to everyone.
Yes, thank
Hello.
you.
Hi, bye-bye to everyone.
Ciao,
God bless you
ciao.
all.
How can we join the mentorship program?
Sorry?
Bye, bye-bye.
How can we join the mentorship
just
program?
look out for the next cohort announcement on our LinkedIn page. We are currently having a cohort, so we can't take any mentee right now. But yeah, in March we are going to open the call for application again.
Okay. Goodbye. I'm very happy to be here.
Thanks
so much.
Same here. We're happy to host you, Hassan. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.